Lord, who can be trusted with power? Who may act in your place? Those with a passion for justice, who speak the truth from their hearts and who have let go of selfish interests and grown beyond their own lives, who see the wretched as their family and the poor as their flesh and blood. They alone are impartial and worthy of the beloved's trust. Their compassion lights up the whole earth, and their kindness endures forever. Who can be trusted with power? This is a call. This is a call to step into that compassion, to step into the kindness, to step into the honesty and the gentleness that is your very nature. That nature has been left in the closet sometimes. But you will find that nature within you when what you want is only to offer kindness and to truly learn the depths of kindness, and that kindness becomes your breath. Kindness becomes the blood that runs in your veins. Kindness is your first thought and your last thought. Gentleness is what the ego likes to ridicule the most. Gentleness. The world has believed that power is control, that power is overpowering, winning, succeeding, proving. There is no power there at all. It is weakness that shows up in control because it's built on fear. Gentleness is deep within you. It is the power of God. Gentleness does not alleviate firmness. The firmness of love says, I must stay focused on what I truly want and what is truly the will of God. The gentleness comes from that firmness. It comes with compassion. It comes with the trust of God. When you have nothing left to have to battle with in your mind. Who can be trusted with power? Every beloved who remembers the truth of love can be trusted with power, with the gentleness, with the kindness, with the honesty. And there cannot be gentleness or kindness without honesty. Honesty is consistency. It never wavers. It doesn't choose anything else. It's not tempted to choose anything else. It revels in the gentleness. Accept your gentleness. Let it lead you. The gentle warrior The name of this poem is The Warrior. The warriors tame the beasts of their past, so that the night hooves can no longer break the jeweled vision in the heart. The bright and heart-filled open every closet in the future and evict all the mind's ghosts that have the bad habit of barfing everywhere. For a long time, the universe has been germinating in your spine, and only the saint has the awareness, the courage to slay the past, the giants, the future anxieties. Dissipated, released. The warrior wisely sits in a circle with other beloveds, gathering the strength to unmask himself. Then sitting, giving, offering like a giant illumined planet on the earth. Unmask yourself. That is the warrior's call. Sitting in a circle and realizing that everyone that is in that circle is you. Every beloved in that circle is you. The calling is to question, what do you see? What do you react to? If you're not seeing yourself, you're not seeing. There is only one. The joy of seeing the truth of every beloved is what the journey is about. The remembering and the recognition of every beloved being the innocence of God, and refusing to believe anything else. That is the firmness to allow the gentleness and the kindness to come into manifestation. The warriors tame the beasts in their past. They tame them. How do we tame the beasts of the past? By shining the light of love on those beliefs. to shine the light and to want the light to be shined on the past. That is the courage of gentleness. And that is the compassion of self-love. It is the true loving offering that you can give to your own heart. To want the past to be exposed and surrendered. And to no longer be afraid of that past, the beasts of the past. That is to bring your trust, your faith in the power of God, to be willing to expose the past. Every teaching is about that. To find the courage, to find the willingness, the trust to expose the past. Why is it that it's so resisted? The fear of seeing the past is the belief that the past is you. Terrible mistakes we think we've made, regrets we've undergone. Sometimes the hopelessness makes us forget the light of dawn. Can you put your faith and trust in the power of truth, the power of God, to allow the spirit of love to shine into your past and expose those mistakes? Not those sins, those mistakes. Honesty, gentleness, kindness, compassion, faith. They're all already what you are. But to access them is the willingness to shine the light on the past. To be able to stand in the middle of that circle of warriors, to stand in the middle and strip off any element of protection, defense, and come empty and open and naked. Stand in the middle of that circle. Say, this is what I thought I did. This is what I have believed in. This is what I've been hiding from. Including the defense system that hid the past. The illusion of an outer identity that wanted to prove that it was acceptable. And that comes off too. To stand in the middle of the circle of these warriors and finally get to the place where there is infinite joy, because the burden has been let go. The lies have been let go. To stand in the circle, the ego screams, if you go there, you will die. The ego screams, you will be rejected. You will be hated. You will be cast out. But you go anyways. You go and you stand in the circle, and you affirm, I put myself in the hands of God. I put myself in the hands of all sacred teachings. I am willing to open that door and let the lies of the past come out, to be shown, not as a judgment, not as a punishment, no, as a release, as freedom from a false identity that you've had to hide. How many lifetimes can be brought to the light? As many as you're willing. What is it that you think you could have done that is worth holding shame and guilt and fear for lifetime after lifetime? What you will discover is that it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. But you gave it the power. You gave it the power of the belief that it was the truth of you. The monsters of the past want you to believe that they're monsters, that you have done things so despicable that you can't open that door. No one has done anything, nothing, that has changed the truth of love. Who begins by standing in the middle? Every master stands in the middle. It's the way home. It's not for humiliation. It's not for comparisons. The comparisons are part of what has to be surrendered. Can you stand in the middle and with a happy heart look to every beloved that is you? Say, I've made comparisons. I've had judgments. I've hated. I've wanted to kill. I've wanted to steal. I wanted what somebody else had. I was envious. I was jealous. I was greedy. I was hateful. What happens when you expose that? You find that those elements were your pain. They were your punishment by your own mind. They were your prison that you chose instead of the belief that you would be judged. There was no judgment except in your own mind. Freedom. And then to take past lives and expose them because they weren't the truth either. Where an ancient hatred has become a present love is that place. The present love that you are cannot find its home with shame and guilt. And it can't find its home with a pretense and a self-protection. But there is nothing more ecstatic than standing in the middle and opening those doors. Can the murderer stand in the middle? Yes, absolutely. The murderer must stand in the middle. Because everyone has been that. Because none of it has been true at all. How much tension is there within of keeping secrets, of keeping facades of an identity? It's really hard work to keep it secret. Imagine that you're standing in that circle and your willingness, your honesty, your faith pulls every warrior up so they can shed their own. You have that power. You have that honesty within you. You have that gentleness. You have kindness. You have the capacity of your heart to serve in this deepest way. The warrior. We don't think of ourselves as warriors in the everyday life. And the warrior has so much attached to it of winning and losing. That isn't the warrior. The warrior is gentle. The warrior is kind. But the warrior is firm in its willingness to be set free and to set others free. This is the only purpose in incarnation. This is the only reason to be reincarnated, is to finally shed these false identities. You have done nothing. But if you protect it, if you protect your self-images, if you protect and defend your past to make it something that is more presentable, more acceptable, you're not realizing the freedom that is there waiting for you from the shedding of these lies. But the shedding can't be secret. If the shedding is secret, the shame stays, the guilt stays, because the essence of healing is allowing the light. Light does not stay in the shadows. Light does not pretend to have a better persona. It's being laid open. Laid open. Is every one of the warriors in that circle, are they the judge? No. Is there a judge? No. It is God in that circle, and there is no judgment. If you have judgment about your own identity, that's part of the surrender. The declaration, I can no longer judge anything, and I can no longer judge this life, and I can no longer judge the past. God is not judging. I cannot judge. Making that declaration then becomes the center of your heart. Because out of that declaration to no longer judge, kindness comes forth, gentleness, honesty. And the most amazing transformation occurs. You have no resemblance at all to your past. You no longer carry the habits, the personality, the way that you look at things, the way you approach things. It all becomes healed. Because everything in the identity that has been falsely made is everything that is shown through the outside. This healing can be so complete, so all-encompassing, that you could have beloveds walking up to you and saying, I don't recognize you. And this is absolutely true. I used to have beloveds come up to me and say, is Chris here? And I would say, yeah, I'm right here. They would look at me and say, no. The false identity has an entire persona. And it has no truth of your being. No truth of your being. Allow your heart to be the center of your being. Allow the heart to be the first element that meets everyone. The rest is non-essential. If your heart is forward and it is what you want to offer, and that's your only intention, it will be what reaches everyone first. And everything else is non-essential. What you know is non-essential. What you present, it's not essential. It's your heart that is the essential element of your offering. Now, everybody will say, for sure, how is that possible? If you are not afraid of another beloved, your heart can come first. If you're afraid, then that's what you bring to the center. Your belief that you can be hurt, attacked, that you need to be defended, that you bring for healing. The heart is the center of your being. And it is what needs to come first. Because after your heart comes and comes first, nothing else matters. There's no big presentation. Look, I'm here. In all my knowing and all my, no. It all disappears and the heart comes first. There was a teaching that I wrote. The attachment to your identity, to the form, comes from the most profound fear. It doesn't seem like it, but it is. The attachment to the form, the belief of the form and your identity comes from the most profound fear. Remember that fear doesn't show itself as fear most of the time. It shows itself as sometimes confidence, sometimes habit, but it's fear. It's fear that is running the show. Can you step past that attachment to the form of how you present yourself? Because that's the attachment to the form. Here's the secret. The secret is that when you're preparing to meet with somebody or be someplace and you're getting ready, almost every thought is about how am I going to get a reaction? How am I going to be accepted? How am I going to be seen? And that's the fear. That's the fear that is running, because when that is running, it's the belief that you can be hurt. It's the belief that you need to be defended through making the form acceptable. This is why Come Naked is so essential. Come naked. Not because you have to actually be naked, but because don't cover yourself or prepare yourself to meet anyone. Bring your heart. Allow your heart to be what you want to offer instead of what you're going to get. When the heart comes first, it's always for offering. And there is nothing there that will be sabotaging and saying, no, I want to be accepted. I want to be seen as whatever it is, successful. It doesn't matter what it is. I want to offer love. Allow the gentleness, the kindness, the honesty to prime your heart, and to realize that the offering of your heart is your nourishment. Not because of the reaction of someone that's going to say, oh, you're so loving. No. It's because you can't stand it not to offer your heart. It's like breathing. It's the center of your universe. And the love that you are is the love of the universe. There's nothing that comes even close. It's everything that we have to offer. Everything. And it's everything that you are. There's nothing else. And there is nothing so magnificent than to offer your heart and not expect anything. Stand in the middle and surrender all the expectations that you've ever had, lifetime after lifetime. And all the ways that you expected the form to give you what you were wanting. Recognition, winning, success, admiration, whatever it is, it's not the truth of you. You have everything within your heart. And to stand in the middle and to realize that you have done nothing that has changed the truth of your being. Everybody has those voices that say, okay, these are the rules, this is what you do, this is how you do it. I've said this many times, and everybody has a voice that is like this. But I had a voice that came from a beloved, and that voice said, who do you think you are? You're nothing. You have nothing, you are nothing, you get nothing, you deserve nothing. And I heard that voice every day, all day. And the Holy Spirit took that voice and transformed it. And the Holy Spirit said, "Who do you think you are? You're the light of God." To hear that voice and have it transformed by the Holy Spirit is what it is to stand in that circle. Because that voice was the liar. And everybody has a voice that lies, that has sold you a bill of goods, a bill of goods that said, this is your secret. This is the secret that you don't want anybody to know. Because what if it's true? What if it's true that I'm nothing? That I have nothing? That I am nothing? That I deserve nothing? What if it's true? And standing in that circle, you deny it. You deny it completely. You do not allow the lies of those past lives or this past in this lifetime to run anymore. And that you have the power of gentleness and kindness and honesty to stand and refuse to accept the lies any longer. That the power of God is the center of your being. The power of God, the power of the universe is the center of your being. Can you embrace that truth? Yes, by standing in the circle and shedding all of the beliefs and the lies of a false identity. The smallest elements are being called to be transformed. Can you stand in the middle and say, I stole money. I stole with hatred, with revenge. As a grievance, I stole. I stole from the beloved who came as my mother, who worked every day to survive, and I stole her money. And I did it with revenge. Could I stand in the middle and surrender that? Absolutely. It had to be surrendered. Every element of pain and suffering and revenge and hatred had to be open to and surrendered. The beauty of that surrender is that it means nothing that I stole from that beloved was nothing. Forgiveness from this heart said, I cannot diminish anyone. I cannot do anything to anyone that changes the truth of their divinity. I cannot. Add to the stealing hatred and revenge with almost everything. Manipulation. Facades. How many facades could there be? All of it surrendered. Let the light shine on it so that it can be brought to light and it falls to pieces. It has to. It's not true. But when you hold it, when you walk with that shame and guilt and you pretend that you can push it aside and keep the facade, it's just misery. And it isn't God's will for anyone to suffer. And this is the suffering that we make, is our beliefs about our past lives and our past. When the Holy Spirit opens up your awareness about the past, everything in you will want to step back, get away, go forward, go to it, invite it. Have the courage to trust that when the light shines and shows you the past, it is showing it to you so that you can be set free, so that you can see the insanity of making up a false identity and forgive yourself for the belief of who you thought you were. Who do you think you are? Take those words and allow the Holy Spirit to show you the truth. What are you? Who do you think you are? What is being protected in an identity that holds you prisoner when there's nothing to be held imprisoned with? There is nothing helpful about believing that you have done things that are so horrible that you can't bring them to the light. There is nothing that has more value than something else, or more horribleness than something else. It's all the same. It's all illusion. And when you hold it in protection, you're just making it real, and it has no reality. None. But can you trust, can you have that faith in the teachings of love that call you to stand in the middle and strip everything off and open that up and say, no more, no more. I have to accept, I have to be that warrior of kindness, of gentleness, of honesty. I have to own the light of God, because that's all that's true. I have to expose the hatred that I've carried, because it's a lie. It's a lie. Do not try to use any form for any purpose that comes from fear. This is a deep calling to expose the fear that is attached to the form of every beloved. Everybody has used it. Sometimes the fantasies get really strong because there is a relationship within that says, I want to live in the fantasy of being finally recognized. I want to be recognized. I want to be seen. I want to be acknowledged. Those beliefs are hiding within. Don't let them have you. Don't let them continue to have you. They have no value. They have no truth. All the fantasies of being recognized or being acknowledged, they're fantasies. And they don't come into manifestation because they're just made up. How can the divine truth that you are be satisfied with acknowledgement from another ego? I mean, just touch this. Acknowledgement, being recognized by another ego. What is the worth? And what is the yearning? You have been recognized by the divine. You have been acknowledged as the truth of all love. Every word of every sacred teaching comes back to your divinity, to letting go of what's in the way of you recognizing the divinity of every beloved. And that starts in the heart. This is the diminishment of the truth by something that has no value, that you've built a fantasy around that says, someday I will be acknowledged. Someday my prince will come. Someday I'll be recognized. And it absolutely means nothing. It's hollow, empty, and has no value. That you are the light of God, that you are the perfection of creation, that is the truth. But there can't be an acknowledgement with that because it belongs to everybody. If you recognize the divinity within yourself, you have to recognize it in every beloved. It's not possible to not share it. It's not possible to not be in harmony with everyone in that divinity. That is the holiness of love. That is the truth of your being. To stand in honesty is to say, I'm not settling anymore for acknowledgement. I'm not settling anymore for being recognized or being lauded for anything. I'm the light of God. And everyone is in that same equality with me. So where's the acknowledgement going to come from? You have to want to have someone better than someone else. And that's not possible. Everyone is already perfect, already maximum as the light of God. Embrace that divinity and stand in the middle and gladly shed the false identity. Does it need a witness? Sometimes, yes. Because if it's done in secret, and it's meant to be done in secret in order to protect, then have a witness to avoid the protection. There's nothing to protect. Stand in the middle. And you will laugh. You will laugh at the absurdity of what you were trying to protect, what you were defending. You're not laughing at yourself. It's not cruel. It's the realization that it was never anything. It was never reality. It was made up. And it holds nothing of truth. You are the divinity of love itself. How many guilty days do you want to carry? How many items of shame do you want to hold on to? None. They're all lies. You've done nothing. You are the light of God. The peace of God is everything that I want. The peace of God is the purpose of all my living here. The end I seek, my purpose, my function, and my life. The peace of God is everything I want. Let that be your morning prayer. It's all that I seek, it's all that I want, it's all that is true. I choose peace. I choose harmony. I choose ease. I choose God's love. In silence and in deep, true humility, I seek the glory and the grace of God. Let me see it in every beloved as it is in the center of my heart. Let me see it in every beloved as I hold it in the center of this heart. And it will be given. It will be shown because it is the truth. There is only love. The peace of God is everything I want. All my purpose of living here. Let it be. Accept. Accept the peace and your perfection. The peace of God.